Hi everyone, welcome back to Sail Vermont's Seamanship series. This is Volume 1, Episode number 2. Today we're going to continue talking about line handling, in particular cover some of the specific knots that we use. And we're going to kick off today's episode with a reminder about bullet point number 1 from last episode. Everything we do with our lines should set us up for the next thing we're going to do with our lines. First off, today we're going to talk about the clove hitch. Very popular knot, very easy to tie, used all over the place in our day-to-day. This line right here is attached with a clove hitch. I'm actually going to pull out a fender, which is probably the most popular time that we use a clove hitch in our day-to-day, and show you how to tie it, talk about when to use it, and talk about 3 variations of the clove hitch. Okay, 2 applications of the clove hitch. Application 1 is where the object is between you and what you're tying it to. Version 2 is where the object is on the other side of the object you're tying it to. So I have a line that I just coiled and I want to hang it on this fixed object. I'm going to take my tail, go over the object. I'm going to bring it on the outside. I'm going to take this tail and create my next loop by simply doing that. Now all I have to do is go around my fixed object and back up through that loop I created. Squeeze those together and we're good to go. Now let's talk about tying a fender. Same thing, just more or less in reverse, because it is happening away from you, not towards you. So I'm going to take my fender, I'm going to throw it over the side of the boat. This line comes underneath, and this time, just like before, you create this loop right here. And remember, you're just taking the bitter end, going through there. Boom, clove hitch. Now there are 2 variations of this, and I'm going to show them to you with the fender because that's where they are most typically used. The 2 variations are to do a slipped and a locked. So the slip version is what you want to use when you need to grab and go with this item potentially. So remember rule number 1, everything we do with this knot has to set us up for the next thing we're going to do with it. So if this is a fender that we think we might use if we're coming into a docking situation and we say, hey, tie a provisional on the starboard bow. So provisional means make sure it's ready to grab and go if needed. So in this case, we're going to turn this into a slip knot. So all we have to do is grab the tail and we can undo the knot and then be able to walk away with the fender as needed. So here's how we tie a slip. Put my fender over the lifeline. I start the clove hitch the same. There's that. But instead of using this bitter end to go through, I'm actually going to take a bite. And a bite is simply this bend here, and I'm going to pass that through, grab the bite, tighten it up like that. So things to know about this, generally very important to take that and give it a good hard yank so that it is locked. So now this tail is all that's required to undo this knot. If I need to use it in a hurry, I can grab this tail and watch what happens. I pull on it, and the knot all comes out, and then I can grab my fender and walk away with it. So that's version number 1. Version number 2 is the locking. So that's the least permanent. The most permanent is when this fender is in place and we do not want it to move. Maybe we're leaving the boat overnight. We're actually going to put a lock on it. Now all I'm going to do is put a half hitch on the standing end. So this is my standing line. And a half hitch is simply you go around and pass it back through. It's the beginning of the most basic knot. That will not move. That's a great way to leave a permanent fender hanging for an overnight situation. So now we've covered how to tie the clove hitch. Here's two examples of where it's used: affixing a line to a fixed object or a fender to our lifeline. This clove hitch has been finished with a half hitch to make it permanent. This clove hitch has been finished with a slip knot to make it easy to grab and go. Which one you choose, remember, rule number one will be determined by what you plan to do next with the line.